My name is Jeff Stormer. I am here with my good friend Noah Houlihan, and we have done many good things. We have played many wonderful games together. We have shared a lot of fun memories. We have recorded podcasts together, but the thing that really matters is the games that we made
along the
way. This is a game design stream we're doing once a month. The idea is every month one of us gives the other a game design prompt. We have to turn around and in that month make a game or as close to a full game as we can make in that time and then present it to the other person as a finished concept. And then we finish making the game and we put it on sale immediately after. So last month we played through Taco Bell Lugosi. It was a wonderful time. It was a great game. And Noah, you gave me a particular prompt that I'm very excited about. Do you want to go over the prompt that you gave me?
Well, first off, I have a Taco Bell Lugosi update.
Yes.
I followed your instructions, and I reached out to Taco Bell.
Right.
And I demanded that they call me the official game designer of Taco Bell and give me a hat or a shirt and a $25 gift card. And I sent them a copy of the game so they could take it out. Their response has yet to reach me. So that's where we are on that.
All right.
So
Fair. Taco Bell, you're on the list.
You're on the list.
On watch.
Then I decided that since you and I have traveled to the Cape Cod to do comedy together, that we should use Google Maps as a mechanic. And I must admit, I was torn between two things. I was either going to give you Google Maps or karaoke. And then I found out like an hour before the stream that you did it already.
That game's done already. I did that game like 6 years ago.
So I had to go with Google Maps.
All right. I am writing a promo tweet that I'm going to finish tweeting.
All right, yeah.
All right.
Get them in here.
I tweeted the experimental promo tweet. I'm going to drop this link into some Discords. As we do that, I'm going to talk through my thought process before I introduce the game that we're playing this month.
I'm very excited.
I'm also going to hiccup.
All right, I'm excited for that as well.
I hiccuped.
That sounds good.
Hiccuped. It's good. So the game. So the prompt you gave me was Google Maps. Now the challenge here was like I had an immediate thought, and the reason I had an immediate thought was because I'd played a game that used this mechanic before. Wait, I don't want to use that tab to go onto Facebook because that's the tab that is playing the stream, and therefore everyone will see my Facebook.
Yeah, don't do that.
So
Jeff, do you need me to talk for a bit while you do
please.
stuff?
No, do you want to like plug anything or just like talk through some stuff?
Sure. Do you need me to hide your browser for a bit?
No. I have a second browser tab open that you can't see that you're not seeing that I was just on the wrong Chrome window.
Gotcha. Well, in any case, this is the games we made along the way. So every month we're planning to come back and create a brand new game. All the games will be for sale on itch.io as well. You can buy my game, Taco Bell Lugosi, a vampire fight using saucy language right now. I believe my name on there is TV's Noah. And it's a role-playing game that we played last week where it is Dracula versus Van Helsing using Taco Bell sauce packets to kind of create your own story. And basically what we want to do with this show is Jeff has introduced me to this space, this whole game, this game design space, and it's not what I expected at all. I didn't realize that you could just kind of do anything. So I wanted to collaborate with Jeff and create this show. And one thing I do want to say about Jeff's game, which he sent me a copy of it. There's my face. He sent me a copy of it. Is the structure of the way you write your games. Mm-hmm. Because if you read my game, it's very much like, here are the instructions. The way you write your game, it's very like conversational. Mm-hmm. And I was curious, like, is that a draft thing, or is that how your games usually feel?
Yeah, I can talk through this a little bit. Kind of what I was thinking is this is kind of my cue to introduce like the game, the thing. So what I was thinking here was like I started working on this and I've been thinking about this for like a solid month. And where I kind of landed was like the game that I wrote, the game that is mostly written that will either have the chat contribute some prompts to, or you and I, Noah, will contribute some prompts on the fly to. It's it's a small game. Like it is a quick little thing. And as I started working, I realized like this was a very interesting mechanic to kind of like adapt into other things.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of wanted to like write this as a document to be like, hey, here's a weird, interesting mechanic. Here's the game that I used it for. If you have another idea, run with it, right? Like
Okay.
because like in my mind, like this was this mechanic. Like I started to see the applications of it, but it felt like it was just I wanted kind of a little bit of a one-page document explaining like, here's the mechanic, here's the core of the thing. If you want to use this in something, feel free.
Okay.
Citing my sources a little bit, there's a game jam happening right now, which I can actually show my screen for. Hold on.
Oh, interesting. Show us that game jam.
There's a game jam happening right now by my friends, the Brain Trust, Adam Vass and Will Yost, called the Tech Jam.
Okay.
Introducing an idea for game designers to have what they call tech packs. Kind of similar to how like artists have art packs and graphic designers have texture packs. So the idea is you make a mechanic, you make a little document that says here's what that mechanic is, and then you make that available. And so like that was kind of, so there are mechanics for like here's an interesting dice system, or here is like some interesting conversational mechanics. So I was kind of thinking in that space as well as I was writing this and brainstorming this of like, here's the game that I'm writing for the purposes of our stream, which I have also plugged the stream in the document. That's called good cross promotion.
Yeah.
But I was also just thinking like, here's an interesting mechanic. I recognize that like I am not the most prolific or like adventurous designer. Like there are designers in the space doing things that like I would never think to do. And so like I was like, here's the thing on the mechanic. Here's my thoughts on it. If you want to take this and do something weirder with it, like this is what I did. So that's why I kind of put together that one page, like here's the thought behind the thing that I wrote.
Okay, so basically you're kind of creating, if I'm understanding this correctly, the tabletop equivalent to stock footage.
Kind of, yeah. And being like, here's me using stock footage in a project, but if you wanted to use this stock footage clip in your own film, like I don't have like I'm fine with that. If you want to use this clip that I filmed, you can drop this in wherever and just make sure my name is in the credits.
Gotcha. All right, that sounds cool.
Yeah, it's a really neat idea, and like it was on my mind as I was making this because I was like, really the core of what I'm doing is making a weird mechanic, and I kind of want to like put that mechanic into the world as much as this game.
Okay, awesome.
So let's talk about this weird mechanic in this weird game.
Okay, let's do it.
So the end result, I'm calling it map hacking, and the way the mechanic at its core, I think let's go through the game. No, why don't we play the game? Or at least what I have written of the game. And then we will talk about the mechanic on
All right,
an abstract
let's
level.
get into it.
So the game that I have written for us today is called Keeping Watch.
Okay.
It is a game about staying up and staring at the shadows. It is designed to be played during a game of like a sword and sorcery dice elf and wizard game.
Okay.
Like, but not necessarily a game that includes both Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay, all right. I could see those elements fitting in well.
Fitting into a game, right? You can visualize a game that included those elements somewhere in it.
Yes.
So what I was thinking of with this game is this is a game that you play in the middle of a game of Dungeons and Dragons. Because the game itself is about keeping watch at night. It is a thing that I think a lot about. It is a game that I think is very like a mechanic or a thing or a story element that I think a lot about, that I've never had fun with in play. I've never enjoyed the act of keeping watch. Like it's always you just roll 3 dice and then a thing happens or it doesn't happen. And
right.
I kind of wanted to like, as I was thinking about this and as I was thinking about ways to use the Google Maps interface, I was like, this is a cool way to like explore a space kind of visually. So here's what's going to happen.
Okay.
You and I are members of a group of adventurers. For our purposes, it's pretty much you and I. There will be no other characters in play.
Okay.
We have done the impossible. We have survived another night. The slings and arrows and fireballs and magic missiles and spears and rockfalls and pits and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera have failed to free us from our mortal coil. And now at last, it's time to bed down for the night.
All right.
But there are things lurking in the dark. And that means that someone needs to keep watch. So what we're going to do is first we are going to, in theory, make characters. But as I'm going to read directly from the game text here because this was my stance on creating a character mechanic for this thing. Keeping Watch is designed to be played alongside your favorite fantasy RPG. There are 10 million of them. You could just make your characters in those games. Or if you just want to play Keeping Watch, imagine a wandering fantasy hero, what they have on them, their skills, their personality. Or just grab the last fantasy RPG character that you made. So Noah, I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah?
What's the last Dungeons & Dragons character that you played?
He was an elf that owned a salt mine.
All right.
I'm trying to remember even what his name was. I jumped into a friend's game, and it was basically like there was this ghost in a salt mine that this elf owned, and they were like, just sitting down to play. I was like, well, I'll play the elf, and I'll come with you. And they're like, oh, okay. So I was, we'll call him Blinken.
Blinken is good. I like Blinken. Blinken? Did you say Blinken?
I said Abe Lincoln?
Oh. I'm going with Blinken. I'm just going to call your character Blinken, like blinking with an apostrophe. I don't know if that's correct, but that's
sure.
That's what I've given you.
Blinken.
The last D&D character that I played was... Oh gosh, now honestly, I have to think about the last time I played like an elf game, ass fantasy game that I wasn't the game master for. I'm just gonna go with the character that I've played the most, which is a tiny little wizard man named Pengrave Barrel Bucket.
Pengrave Barrel Bucket. I love it.
He was a farm boy that one day woke up and realized that he had been blessed by the dark and by the Lovecraftian monster gods with magic, and is very upset about this.
Okay.
That is his deal. So we have our characters in mind. We have these sort of rough. They just need to kind of be rough ideas because there's going to be some prompts that ask about like what we're capable of. Sometimes it might come up and play a little bit.
Okay.
We're on a journey. We are traveling somewhere, and we have set up camp. So what's going to happen now is we're going to set up camp. And the way we're going to do that is I'm going to go in to MapCrunch.
Okay.
MapCrunch is... I'm using MapCrunch as a random street view generator, but we don't actually need the street view of it. It's just... I literally spent more time researching this game in terms of finding a way to generate just a completely random location in Google Maps than I did any other part of this game.
Yeah.
Because it's shockingly impossible. There is shockingly no tool that just is like I hit a button and I'm in a map and it shows me a random map. There are like 7 random street view generators, but we don't need the street view. So we have to kind of like move between apps a little bit. It's weird. So I'm going to click our country. I'm going to click our home country of the USA.
Yes.
And we're going to generate a random location.
Okay, let's go.
We are on County Road FA in La Crosse, Wisconsin.
Oh, boy. All right.
We are going to put this entry into Google Maps. There's a parking lot. I'm very excited about this parking lot.
All right.
So the idea here is we are going to use, and now here's the core of the game. Here's the core of the mechanic. Here's what I'm really interested and excited about. What we're going to do is we have a number of questions. We have a number of questions that we're going to use. The mechanic, all of the questions that we're going to answer, the stuff we're going to do in this game is built on the Google Maps search nearby function.
Okay.
We have a number of questions. You and I are going to be taking turns taking watch over the course of the night.
All right.
The game is designed for 1 to 4 players because there are 4 watches. Like there's 4 chunks of time that you're going to be like watching over your campsite. Okay. And in that time, each person is assigned a watch, and there's a mechanic for if you have to be assigned multiple watches. Insomnia and exhaustion sets in, which we'll get into as we play.
Okay. Cool.
But The one thing to note is I'm going to ask you, Noah. Do you feel like Blinken? Because I don't think Pengrave has a noteworthy expertise in this. Do you think that Blinken is particularly skilled at like finding a campsite or pathfinding or like scouting or anything like that?
Well, the last time I played Blinken, we got lost in a thing he owned. So I'm going to say
Okay,
no.
got it. Okay, cool, great, perfect. If one of us were like a world class scout or ranger or something, what we could do is generate two locations, look at them on the map, and go, this one feels better for the purposes of this game. We'll go with it.
Okay.
Because what's going to happen is each prompt that we have, each section of the watch, we have certain questions that are going to be related to the activities that we are undertaking during that watch.
Okay.
And for each of those questions, there's a list of example words that we can search. We're going to search for a word in the search nearby function in Google Maps.
Okay.
Depending on how far our location is from the first result that Google recommends to us, we're going to choose an answer from a list of questions, or we're going to choose a question to answer from a list.
Okay.
To determine how well equipped or how well our camp experience is that night.
All right. Okay. I think I follow. Cool.
So, I'm going to have you take first watch.
Okay. I'm taking first watch. You
All right.
get some sleep.
So first watch is early evening. First watch is your activities that you're going to be doing here are sort of securing the perimeter, which is finding a good spot to rest, assembling tents, making sure that like our actual site, the place that we're sleeping, is secure and safe.
Okay.
You're going to be gathering supplies, that's firewood, food, water, getting the stuff so that we don't have to like burn the limited supplies that we've brought on our journey during the night.
All right.
And lifting our spirits, right? Like this is the time of night where we kind of have some campfire time.
All right. So we want it to be nice and fun.
Yeah. So for each of those things, which of those three things do you want to focus on first? It doesn't matter. Like the way we approach each of these three sections doesn't matter. But like, which of them are you excited to try first?
We'll just go in order and we'll start with the area here.
Securing the perimeter.
Yes.
So you're going to find a good spot to rest. You're going to assemble tents. You're going to patrol. You're going to make sure that we find a spot that is safe, that we are not going to get ambushed during the night.
All right.
So I'm going to ask you, what word do you want to search that is related to that? Some examples include campsite, bed, lodging, rest, inn, sleep. The one guideline I give in the book is the weirder the word that you choose,
okay,
the more extreme and wondrous the answer that you provide is. So if you search for hotel or food or something that is like very
basic,
Googleable, you're gonna get like an extreme. Like if I'm looking for food and I search for food, I'm gonna find like berries, right? Like I'm gonna find like a very normal, mundane object.
Okay.
If I search for feast, if I search for feast cuisine, if I search for sustenance, like if I pick like a weird word, then I find something magical, I find something really special, or we get haunted by something horrible. Like there's a risk reward of like you can go for the easiest option, or you can take the risk to try and find something more special and exquisite.
I'm gonna try to go middle of the road.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go with cabin.
Cabin? All right, we're gonna search cabin, and we're gonna go search nearby. Search cabin.
Now, no! We are in the middle of nowhere.
Now, the thing I want to point out that's in the rules that was the result of some solo testing with this. Part of this is playing with Google's algorithm.
Yeah.
More so than like how far things are from you, because Google will oftentimes, whether people have paid for ad coverage or like it just assumes based on your interest, the first result that you get will not always be the literal closest thing, but you got to go with whatever the top goddamn item on that list is.
So the cabin.
So the cabin, which is 26.3 miles away.
I think everything's going to be far, Jeff. We're on just a road.
So Noah, I've got bad news.
Oh, no.
Do you want to know the guidelines for the questions?
Sure.
If you get from 0 to 2 miles away, you find the best possible result. From 2 to 5 miles is a good result.
Mm-hmm.
From 5 to 10 miles is a middle result, is a medium result, is like a not great result, and 10 plus miles is the bad result.
Oh boy. Oh, this is going to be a bad time.
This is not going to be great for us. Noah, this is not a safe place to rest.
Okay.
What puts us in danger here, and how is this going to make the rest of our watch more difficult?
All right. Well, I'm gonna say we found it. Like it was called the cabin. So I think we find
the whatever that thing is. You're encouraged to kind of pull that into your answers.
All right. So this is what I'm gonna say. We find this cabin in the middle of the woods, like in the middle of nowhere. We don't realize that this cabin was owned by a hermit. Who is dead. The hermit is dead.
Sure.
But he was like very much like a hermit, didn't want people around him. So the cabin is viciously booby-trapped.
Okay.
But
I like that.
The owner of the cabin is no longer around to maintain said booby traps. We don't know how long they've been set. And we have no idea that it's booby-trapped as we're like, yo, free cabin!
Free cabin, free place, free crash. Great, awesome, love it. And now, here's where game designer Jeff puts on his hat again and says, like, if we were playing this like in a game of D&D, that's like a good opportunity for me as GM to go like, cool. I'm now gonna have you roll some saving throws to like avoid like getting hurt by a trap, right? Like,
Okay.
This is an opportunity for us to like be like, okay, cool. This is the narrative situation we find ourselves in. What happens? But because we're just playing keeping watch, we're just going to answer the questions and imagine what goes wrong for us.
Okay, sounds good.
Let's go for gathering supplies. So you're hunting for food, you're gathering firewood, water, building securements. This is you making sure we have what we need. Example words include food, restaurant, water, sustenance, supplies, survival.
Based on our location, I'm going to try garden.
Garden. Hopefully we find an Olive Garden and we can just switch to the Olive Garden LARP. Garden.
Garden. Garden
is 5
center.
miles away.
All right,
miles
cool.
away.
All right, so that's like a medium thing, right?
That's a medium thing. So gathering supplies, you can secure most of what you need from near your campsite.
Okay, cool.
What's the one thing that you're missing, and what do you need to do to find it?
Okay, so garden center. I
feel like we're probably able to find like something plant-based, right?
Yeah, we're able to find something plant-based. I think we're lacking in fire then.
Okay.
So, which is like not the worst because it's not like we have to cook things, but it's a bit chilly and the cabin's a bit cold.
It's really interesting. Like thinking about it with the cabin, like it probably I get this picture of like not quite a greenhouse, but I get the picture of almost like a farmhouse, like this, like these which makes the booby traps much scarier if they're like buried in high grass in this very complex, like hedge mage scenario.
All right, that sounds good.
That's very interesting to me. Lifting. Now it's time to lift our spirits. We're in this cabin. It is cold. It is dark. We have probably suffered some injuries, like getting caught up in traps. We need to bring comfort and joy to our compatriots.
Mm-hmm.
Keep the shadows and sadness at bay. Now, here's where I'm going to invoke a mechanic of the game.
Okay.
We're in a bad spot. The results that we've drawn so far have put us into a bad spot. So whatever the next word you pull is, we're going to have to look at the top 2 results in Google Maps and pick whichever one is further away.
Ooh, okay. Okay. So
Unless you feel like you have a particular skill that might help us lift our spirits here.
I I was actually thinking like I have a lot of money because I have this
Okay.
salt mine, but I've always played the characters as very cheap. So I was going to make the word we looked up be discount.
Discount? I feel like discount is good. All right. So we have to look up the top 2 locations under the word discount and find the one that is further away.
Okay.
So here we have 5.6 miles. And here we have 12 miles.
So what one? Budget car rental?
Budget car rental and big lots. We have to go budget car rental.
Oh no. Okay. So
And the question here is the weight of the world is too much. What schism erupts in the group that might never be resolved?
well, I think I lent you something that you broke.
I really love that, and I love that I like adding to that, building on that. You could just replace it. You have the money to just replace the thing.
But
that I
it's
broke.
mine.
But you can replace it.
No. That one was my favorite. That was my absolute favorite canteen.
I broke your watch.
Watch?
You could just buy a new watch.
Yeah, but you asked for the time, and I lent you my pocket watch. We're going fancy, and you broke it. It meant a lot to me.
It wasn't even that nice of a pocket watch.
How dare you?
I'm just saying, it was not that nice of a pocket watch.
And I'm just saying, how dare you? This has been in my family for generations.
I love that this is the schism that breaks up our adventure, that like puts our adventuring party in peril. Like that's just a fun detail that like we get to like play out, right? Like that's just a fun character dynamic.
Absolutely.
Which brings us to the second watch.
Okay. Oh, that was the whole first watch. Okay.
That's the first watch. I feel like there's probably some kind of like complete the watch mechanic, but I don't know what it is. Like there's probably some sort of like bow to put on a watch, like to either make future ones more difficult or like put a capstone on things. But also if I'm picturing this as like an interlude in a game of D&D, like having it just be kind of short, we answer a few questions and we move on is also probably a good thing.
I'm not surprised that you haven't taken full care of the watch and how it works based off of your previous actions with watches.
That's fair. All right.
So it's the second watch.
It's the second watch. Technically the third one because we broke your watch.
Yes.
Okay, so my actions are going to be, and one of them is blank because I don't know the third thing that fits here.
Okay, all right. We might be able to get something from the chat here.
Protecting the campsite.
All right.
Passing the time because at this point everyone has gone to bed, and this is the first watch. This is the first like if you're thinking about this in time frames, this is like 11. This is like probably like 10 to 1 or 2, right? Like this is everyone has gone to bed.
Okay.
And now you're alone for the first time in the day, and it's that sense of like, oh, now I'm suddenly aware of my being alone.
Okay. So like, who's asleep?
I think you're asleep as well as the rest of the group, and I'm like the only one awake.
Okay.
And like, there's that sense of like time seems to just stop the second.
No, because the watch is broken. Time is still moving forward. You just broke my watch.
Go to bed. Go to bed. You're cranky. I'm just saying, if you got some sleep, you'll realize you could buy a new goddamn watch. That's all I'm saying. All right. So first up, I'm going to protect the campsite. I have to watch for threats. I have to build safeguards. I have to patrol the area. Words to search examples include security, safety, protection, defense. I'm gonna look for security. I'm gonna see what I can find with the word security.
Okay, and that's how you're going to defend the camp. I'm
Yeah.
trusting you as I sleep.
I found a security guard service within 4 miles.
All right. That's pretty good.
Shadows lurking in the night, but no dangers breach the campsite. What do you do to keep the campsite secure? This was a security guard service.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, and being that I am like already a paranoid sort, I'm already kind of a worrywart on account of the horror magic. I think I'm just like patrolling. I think I like don't let myself sit.
Okay.
Like it's a lot of like I'm just walking in a circle.
All right, gotcha.
It's a lot of like I am like dead set on like I have to like be present and alert, right? Like this is a military operation.
Okay, so you're getting steps on your Fitbit.
Yeah.
Things are good. All right. All right.
Now
This
it's
watch is going pretty well so far.
Now it's time to pass the time, right? Like that's eventually gonna get to me just as an activity, right? Like
All
being
right.
that alert for that long. I got to keep my senses about me. I got to fight against the creeping isolation. My keywords or example words include games, entertainment, leisure, fun, focus. I'm going to go with focus.
Focus. Interesting.
I don't feel like I'm in a place to have fun here. Like I don't think that the last question has set me up to go with the easier.
Show me a lens, crafters.
What do we got? We got
Focus the why. What the hell is this?
It's not giving me hold on. It's not giving me actual direct. I gotta go with directions.
Now, how far is this?
Wait, why did it lose my? Oh, it lost my location. Hold on.
Oh, we lost the location. Okay.
Focus.
Focus. Focus the why.
I don't even see focus the Y on here.
No. Uh-oh.
All right. Well, I think the ruling here has to be that I just go until something shows up on the screen.
Yeah. 18 minutes away.
9.5 miles.
All right.
So, the isolation gets to you, and you spend the evening obsessing over your failures. What regret eats away at you?
Oh, I know.
I think I lied. I don't think I broke your watch. I think I stole your watch. I think I snatched your watch just to have it, and I'm just keeping it.
Oh my god! If I wasn't asleep right now, I'd be so angry.
I think what we see is me patrolling, and like in my loneliest moment, I go and I look at the watch, and it's pristine, and like.
But it's eating away at you, at least.
It's eating away at me.
Yeah.
Well, and what that tells me is that this probably isn't the first time I've grifted you out of something.
How dare you?
Grift.
Oh. It's rough. It's rough to hear.
So then we get to the third thing, and I'm not sure what I want this third thing to be. What feels like the other part of like it's 11 o'clock at night. I'm walking the perimeter. I'm making sure nothing like jumps out at me. I'm passing the time.
Let's see.
Chat, if you have any suggestions.
Yeah, chat's what should be the third thing here? Because I was thinking maybe like tiredness or something else like you're alone.
So what I have, I'll read off the things I have in the third watch, which are fending off threats, fending off exhaustion, and fending off terror, which is different than like passing time.
Gotcha.
Physically, like staying awake, and then just keeping from having a complete meltdown, and then also like the next one is like 2 to 5, like it's right before sunrise, and so it's like the darkest it gets. It is the creepiest it gets. It is the active, like, this is the nightmare space.
Well, how about this as an idea? How How about something just like dealing with the past issues, and we can
I like
tack
that.
we can tack that into every watch, because we'd imagine that over time, all the issues that we have are going to be like compound.
I like that. I actually really like that as a. I like that as an every watch like and that feels like a good button to the watch is like, can we put aside these issues or are they going to spiral into a much larger thing?
Yeah, because like right now, there's the tension between the two of us, plus all the booby traps, plus it's cold because we don't have
Yeah.
fire. Like, let's like maybe just at the end of every watch we add dealing with the consequences.
Oh, and maybe it's like a free. Maybe it's a free search, and you can pick whatever term you want, and if you can get you can either. All right, I'm just gonna make some quick notes here.
Yeah. This is a beta test, so like
Beta
things
test.
change.
Because I like this as something that happens on every watch is like wrapping stuff up. You can search for whatever term you want, whatever term is going to most directly address an issue that came up in that watch.
Yeah.
If we get within 2 miles, it like we not only resolve it, but we like it puts us in a better position. You know what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
results are more generalized, but like you have an opportunity to directly like I need to go like clear out these booby traps.
Yes.
So let me ask you, Noah, what the problems that we have are personal issues between us, booby traps, and fire. What thing do you want to deal with before you go to bed?
Oh, before I go to bed?
Yeah, well, we'll skip back to first watch here.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I wouldn't be aware of the booby traps. We already had our tiff, so I was like, let's see if we can make things a bit warm.
Okay.
So let's see if I can get some sort of fire going, or maybe I find some like blankets in the cupboards.
What word do you want to search?
So I'm looking for like warmth. And
I mean, I guess
fire
would be the most direct.
Fire
right?
makes the most sense, yeah. So let's just go with fire.
4.9 miles.
All right.
5 miles.
All right, cool. So we get a nice fire going in the fireplace.
So I think at that point we don't necessarily get an advantage in the next. Like I wouldn't get an advantage to one of my watch issues, but I would get. We would no longer have the fire as an issue.
Okay, gotcha.
I think like here's the thing though. Warmth feels like a really good just general issue to add in for the second watch, right? Like it's because you're like the fire is out. You're like you're actually like, or it's like almost this sounds kind of boring, but this feels right to like it's 11 o'clock at night. It's like cleaning up the space, right? It's like maintenance, right? Like it's I gotta put out the fire or else we're gonna burn down the campsite while we all sleep. Everybody's finally asleep, so like we can clean up the mess we made from cooking to make sure we don't get attacked by a bear.
Okay, so let's call this comfort.
Comfort.
And it's basically maintaining a space where everyone else can be asleep.
Yeah, I like that. I'm gonna call it comfort and maintenance. And the word, so we've got the idea of what it is, and the word that I'm gonna look for, the most direct. I'm gonna look for disarm.
Disarm.
I'm gonna search for disarm and see what it pulls up.
Ooh, I feel like this is a mistake, but okay, here we go.
Now I might save that for the watch issue later to see if we get like an advantage or something. But like, I'm trying to think like comfort, maintenance. I'm gonna search cleaning.
Cleaning. There you go.
Because like my thing is like we had to like scrounge and like I'm already kind of awake. I'm already kind of wired. And like I know that I clean when I'm watching 9 miles, so not good, but not the worst.
360, so you get the whole camp.
Get the whole camp. What puts us in danger that I can address, and what does it cost me to address it?
I mean, 360 makes me think you try to clean the whole camp and try to make the whole camp good. So I think your actions wake up party members.
I like that. I like that. I like that. It kind of pushes on it. It kind of pushes on the feeling of like it pushes on the feeling of like yeah. It adds to the stress that we're all feeling, like because I'm pushing myself too hard, and so like what it takes. Ooh, there's a good character moment here.
All right, character moment. Let's do it.
What it takes me to help kind of put everything to rest is I have to come clean about the watch.
Oh, right now. All right, it's happening already.
Like, cause like it's something where like I am so stressed out that like I just like that the watch becomes a telltale heart.
So you have to come clean
About the watch.
About this watch.
I like
We're
that.
doing some good wordplay.
Good wordplay, right? I also am realizing that we're just giving free advertising to all of these businesses. They need to get at us.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, that feels really good. That feels like a really good moment of like I just kind of break, right? Like what I have to sacrifice is this long-term grift that I've had that I've gotten things out of you of like, yeah, fine, you want your watch back here. It's fine. I just took it. I've been lying this whole time. Take your watch back. Fine.
I will never lend you anything again.
How dare. Yeah, you will. You'll forget.
Excuse me. I'm making a note and sticking it in my watch right now.
Hey, can I borrow your watch?
No! I'm busy
Sure?
writing a note into it.
Can I have it when you're done?
Can I finish? Can I finish?
Fine.
Do not lend him anything. Wait!
All right, so now I'm gonna deal with some past. Now I'm gonna deal with some past issues. We've got tension. People are awake. I'm gonna invoke a mechanic here.
Okay.
I think I can magically like put us to sleep. Like I think I have magic. Like I have magic.
Okay.
So like I can at least like magically like comfort everyone and like address the group that way.
Okay.
And like help us sleep and help us get a level of comfort. So I'm gonna search for magic.
Magic? That's in Wisconsin. There's no magic there.
I found a magic store. It found a magician. It found an actual magician. I'm so excited. I found a magician within 10 miles.
Jeff, where are you seeing these numbers for distance, by the way?
So when I hover over, so let me see. Do you see this when I hover over the magic?
I see it. It's right here. I keep looking at the minutes.
Oh yeah, no, it pops up next to it. It says 9.3 miles.
Okay, all right, excellent.
But because I'm invoking mechanic, I'm also going to look at the magic of Isaiah, which is another magician. Oh, I'm so excited that we found multiple magicians.
We got a magic fight on our hands.
This one's 15 miles away. We're going to stick with the 9.3 miles. But I'm very excited that there are multiple magicians that we had to choose from. So I think
for a split second I thought it was on Spellway, but it's on Spillway. I was like, oh my god, what a great magician.
Okay. So I think from a 5 to 10, it's like success at a cost, right? It's like it takes something from me to do it.
Right.
And I think what it costs me is to set up an interesting conflict for us. Like, it brings magical attention on us that I have to use this sort of magic to, like, comfort us, right? To, like, like, put us to rest. Like, I have to use magic, but, like, some sort of magical presence has its eye on us in this cabin because I used this, like, I had to do, like, a ritual or something.
Okay, to put us to sleep. Gotcha.
Yeah, to let it like bring us comfort and like get everybody to sleep and make it so that like we had like a serene sight. I had to do a ritual that like now there's just like an aura in this cabin that like there's like, you know, it's Dungeons and Dragons. There's ghosts and shit that like can see this now.
Okay, all right, gotcha.
I think that's interesting.
All right. So we might have made our location kind of known.
Yeah.
All right.
Which brings us to the third watch.
Okay. So now are you asleep and I'm awake?
I'm asleep. You are awake, which means that because there's only the two of us, you're starting, like, insomnia is setting in a little bit.
Okay. I'm a little sleepy, a little drowsy.
Which means that you're gonna pick. We're gonna do two options and pick the worst.
Okay.
Unless you have a skill for each that's going to let you, let you benefit.
Gotcha.
This is why it pays to have friends.
Exactly. So what are my questions gonna be here?
You're gonna be fending off threats.
Fending off
You're gonna
threats.
be fending off exhaustion, and you're gonna be fending off terror.
Okay. All right.
So fending off threats, you're staying vigilant, you're dispatching ambushes, you're warding off horrors in the night. This is the dark. It is literally darkest before the dawn, and this is when you are like most certain that something is going to come out from the shadows and attack us. So examples include weapons, security, fortification, defense, things like that.
Okay. I'm gonna ask the chat. What's the chat like?
What weapon? What word should we use?
What we use for fending off a threat? Because I was kind of thinking like karate.
Karate is very good. Is the thing.
All right, so I'll wait. It's threats. What are the other two?
The other two are exhaustion and terror.
Okay, chat, start throwing out what word I'll use for terror, because we're using karate for threats.
Karate. Gotta use karate.
Yo, that's not bad.
Yeah, and that's actually further than the other karate place. So yeah, that's actually not the worst.
All right. I mean, I think that's a pretty spectacular word. And
you are overwhelmed with danger and barely able to keep things protected. What is the closest call, and how were you able to contain the crisis?
I mean, karate.
Karate. Blinken knows karate.
Yeah,
sure.
I think I know some
character development.
Yeah.
What attacks the campsite that you're able to karate away?
That I'm able to karate? I karate away. Let's say some bandits.
Okay, yeah, a bandit strike. Sure, I like that.
Yeah, they saw the glowing, and I was just like, bandits.
Kick him in the face. Sure.
Yeah.
Super kick. You tuned up the band.
Yeah. Kick his head off.
All right, we got fending off exhaustion.
I mean, I think there's only one word that makes sense for fending off exhaustion, and
What's
that is coffee.
Coffee is the first word on the list of example words that I had.
Of course you got to do coffee.
That's 7.8 miles, and that's again, like, surprisingly okay.
Yeah, I mean, Starbucks is everywhere.
Your senses are dulled and you start to lose time. What important detail do you miss, and how does it how is it going to cause problems for you later?
I activate some sort of booby trap.
Okay.
Let's see, what's a good all right, this is dumb and I love it. There is I activate a switch and it lets out cobras.
That's gonna cause some problems for us later on account of cobras.
But these are cobras that have been in a cage for like 2 to 3 years, because this is an unkept cabin. So they're old, like not sharp cobras.
Got it. Old cobras, sure.
Yeah, like you can hear them creak when they sit up like this. Like they make like an old man noise. They're like, yeah.
All right.
Cobras.
So our next question was fending off terror.
Yes, and I love this answer from Nate in the chat. So I have to go with this word. Yoga.
Yoga?
Yes.
I'm learning so much about Blinken as a character.
Yeah. Just doing some...
That's 4.4 miles, and that's 7.8 miles.
Oh my god, the yoga that they have here in Wisconsin.
yoga, magic, and karate.
What a great
happening
place
in-
this is. We should
What
go
is
here.
happening in Wisconsin? All right. So I don't have questions written for this, but so I'm gonna wing this, and then I'll write this question in later. Oh, this feels natural. Like something. Let me think about this. What's a good question scenario for like the not worst result, but a result that's gonna take something from you and drain something from you. Ooh, I got something. You are, and this might actually be the answer that we had to the last question. You are confronted with a terror from your mind's eye. Something that you were afraid of has confronted itself for you at a moment when you are most vulnerable to it. What is your character afraid of, and are you capable of handling it on your own?
My character is let's see, something I'm scared of. Okay, I'm gonna go with this is a weird choice. I'm gonna go with heights.
Okay.
And what's gonna happen is I'm gonna see the cobras, and then as I'm like running to like warn you guys, I'm gonna activate like a punji pit. And
Okay.
so that's gonna like open in front of me, and I'm gonna be like hanging from it, and then be like, oh, I gotta get across this very large gap, which frightens me, because all my friends are about to be eaten by old cobras.
I adore this. Which brings us to like resolving issues. What are the issues we've got on the table? We've got the cobras. We've got the booby traps.
I would say hanging from the edge of the pit would be my number one.
All right.
And the cobras
is a number two.
Is a very close number two.
Well, it sounds like you're going to address the number one, so what word do you want to look for trying to climb out of a pit?
Oh, I got a great word for this. I'm going to go with bridge. If it came up like the Bridge Club, I was going to lose my mind.
6 miles. Actually not bad.
All right, cool.
So you are able to address one of the issues on the table, but we'll say another one gets worse. How about that? That feels like a good 5 to 10 result.
Okay, yeah. So I get across the pit in time, or safely, but one of our party members gets bitten by a cobra. I'm only able to stop.
I like that.
Some of the old cobras.
I like that. Which brings us to a natural stopping point in the game, which is the fact that I don't have the last section of the game written.
Well, do you want me to take over then?
Sure.
All right. So, like, I can kind of put something together. I'll take the ball here. So, I'm exhausted now from saving you from cobras and getting my watch back.
Yeah.
Right. So this is like the very end of the night, right?
Yeah, this is the last shift. This is like 4 to 8 in the morning, right? Like the sun has started to come up a little bit. It is ironically not. It is right before the dawn, but it is ironically, in fact, very bright out because that is just not a true thing.
Okay. All right. So I think what we would have to deal with here.
What are the things that you need to deal with, like in that time period?
Well, I think it's packing up and getting ready to continue on the adventure.
Packing up and preparing is very good.
Chat, feel free to
if you've got suggestions, chat,
throw something out. So packing up.
Chat does want to suggest that we become famous and buy followers.
Yeah, I saw one of those.
Excited about that.
I get one of those all the
followers.
time.
We want to put buying followers on the list.
How about like direction?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because like it was
charting your course basically.
Yeah, charting the course. And What's another good thing? Like you're starting your day, you're gonna get
Yeah,
going.
it's the morning. It is like
Breakfast.
I'm kind of thinking something like along the lines of like breakfast or like maybe it's I'm gonna write down caretaking and mending.
Okay, there you go.
Because like
Shower's.
I'm thinking there's a few different like Dungeons and Dragons related things that I'm thinking of, and that is like the wizard preparing a spell book and the cleric doing their prayers and picking their spells, like a category of and Nate has a suggestion in the chat of like reconciliation that I think fits really nicely into this is like
Yeah.
this is like yeah, and breakfast actually also fits really nicely into this, like an overall category of like it's now the morning and we kind of like we're almost through it, and it's just a matter of like making sure that like when we set out tomorrow that like we're not in a worse place than when we started.
Gotcha. Okay.
So there's like packing up the campsite, right? There's like packing up your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's figuring out where you're going next, and then there's just like making sure that like when we go, we are in a good state to go there.
Okay.
Those are all three really good options for this like final watch. And also it kind of like from a game design perspective, I like that it's a little softer than the others because especially because the third watch is very consciously designed to be the roughest and meanest of the three.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the softest. That being said, there's a giant pit around the cabin, and there's cobras.
And a bunch of cobras. Sure. And a bunch of cobras.
Bunch of elderly cobras.
So, packing up and preparing. I'm still doing the insomnia thing, which I might tweak as a mechanic. I don't know if I love it just like being on every round. I think it gets a little. I think it's a little too punishing, but
yeah.
So I think we'll scrap it for this time.
Okay.
I'll play it through and we'll talk through what's.
Well, I guess you could build it like if this is your second watch. One of them you got to pick the worst.
Yeah,
one.
I like that.
And
Actually,
then,
I really like that.
As you stay up later, it gets worse and worse.
So if you're the only person on all four watches, then by the end of it, you're doing it on all four of the draws that you're making. That's really good. I really like that. I think that's what we're gonna go with.
Okay.
Okay. So preparing, dealing with cobras. I gotta look for exterminator.
Exterminator. I like it.
6.8 miles. All right. Like 6.8 miles. Well, I got to decide. Is this when we're going for the? No, I don't think this is when I would go with the bad option. I have one bad option. I think it's got to be on charting your course because that feels like harm reduction.
Okay, gotcha.
Because it feels like there are more important things to focus on that I need to give my best energy to this.
Yeah, gotcha. All right.
So, what it's going to cost is the question that I'm going to throw into this one for 6 to 10 miles is like something is damaged over the course of the night. What is it, and can it be repaired or replaced? We gotta like break some things to get rid of these cobras, right? Like we gotta
yeah.
This is an exterminator. Like we really were specifically going after the cobras. Like, gotta deal with the cobras first. And I think like stuff gets broken, right? Like probably some furniture in the cabin.
Okay.
There's a whole Evil Dead fight scene that unfolds.
All right, I dig it.
And probably some of our gear. Maybe like a lantern, like a really nice lantern, or I grab your watch and I break your watch on a cobra.
Why? Why would you, of all the things you could have grabbed?
It was the closest object.
I was in my pocket.
It was the closest thing.
You were on a chair.
I needed a chair to sit.
I pick up the note that says "Don't lend you things." Put that in my pocket.
So charting course. What do I want to search for? I'm gonna search for navigation.
Navigation. Chat, make some recommendation for what the reconciliation word should be, while we're looking at navigation.
Hold on, it might not actually.
Just swinging my watch around like a mace.
Yeah, it is actively not letting me search for navigation, which I think I have a rule for. I do have a rule in the game for like when it actively does not let you search for a word.
That's
It
weird.
does not recognize it as a category of things.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So chaos strikes. If you search for something and Google cannot find an option, something goes horribly wrong and interrupts play, you get into a fight, a natural disaster occurs. Something that disrupts play immediately, resolve the issue, and then pick back up with play. I think it's that our friend is sick, right? Like, our friend has been bitten by a poison
By a cobra, yeah.
We would have to do, and we have to, like, solve, like, that is no longer a thing that we solve. That is no longer a, like, camp night, like a campfire, no longer, like, a campsite style thing. Problem that we're solving, that is our friend has been poisoned and we have to, like, actively solve that.
Right. So our friend has been bitten by a cobra. He poisoned. Let's you got bit right in the forearm, we'll say.
Yeah,
so,
and we have to we don't necessarily
cut it off.
We don't necessarily need to play this out, but like I like this idea of we have to pause this game to go like figure out how to stop our friend from dying from poison.
Okay. We cut his arm off.
Yeah, we cut his arm off. Nate in the chat has suggested diner for the comfort and conciliation option, and I really like that.
You like diner? All right.
I like diner.
Diner's a real scary word in Wyoming, though.
Is it?
Jersey boy. Yeah, I mean, Jersey has the diner.
Oh, yeah, right. We're from the diner capital of the world, and that is not true everywhere else in the world.
Yeah, that's why we're the capital. If everywhere was the diner capital of the world, it wouldn't be that special. But all right, good luck.
I'm going to search map. I'm just going to search map and see what happens for charting course.
All right.
5 miles.
All right.
5 miles. So pretty good response is we're able to find where we're going, but there's a hazard on the way, and what is it? Where are we headed to, and what's the hazard that's in our way? I'm gonna say we're headed back from a dungeon. We're headed to like a small town. We're headed back. We've got a bag full of things. Lots of stuff we could have thrown at cobras that are not your watch.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that's in our way. Oh, it's a bandit camp, right? Like it is where these bandits came from that tried to rob us when they saw our stuff.
Okay, gotcha.
They saw the
that I
cabin,
karate'd.
they have a hideout and it is like directly in the way, and we have a lead on where it is because we have a lead on where it is specifically because they saw. We were able to kind of track their movements a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So we know where it is. We know where we're going, and we know the spot that we can either avoid or address that problem, but we know that problem is there.
Okay, gotcha.
And then I'm searching for diner. I gotta search for diner.
Diner is wait a second. What is diner your search for?
Comfort and mending. So this is our it's morning. We're starting to wake up.
Oh, okay.
I'm making us breakfast.
When you searched navigation and chaos striked, that didn't count as the turn for that.
No, that interrupts play, and then we come back.
Gotcha. Okay. Remember, Jeff, you have insomnia. You still got to deal with.
No, I did that on charting the course. I got a 4.5 mile and a 5 mile.
Oh, gotcha. All right, my bad.
8.8 miles is the nearest diner. That's upsetting.
Isn't it?
Well, this one's 5 miles away. Google's just being weird and trying to take us to a further diner.
I mean, we could order online right now. Do you think they would deliver?
We could also reserve a table.
Under the name Blinken.
Blinken and Pengrave Barrel Bucket.
Yeah.
Just see how long it takes them to cancel our reservation. So it's 8.8 miles. But we're able to resolve what difficult and I have the easy answer for this. What difficulty are we going to have to address in our travels today? Like, what are we incapable of mending and preparing for the day ahead?
I was ready to forgive you because my watch was back and now it's broken and now I'm angry again. It's like I lost it twice because I did.
Well, it's also like I lost it because I had to give it back to you.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of problems with this watch.
A lot of problems that we had with this watch. And then we have one more thing for resolving a final issue.
Mm-hmm.
Our friend is healed or dead.
He's fine. He's just missing an arm.
Missing an arm. He's fine. We cut off an arm. It's fine. Our relationship is pretty irreparably damaged. I don't even think it's worth trying to salvage it. I think I'm going to...
We could hit a random booby trap at all times, remember?
We could. I'm going to search for traps.
Traps, all right. Just make sure that we don't deal with... Oh, boy, that was a big zoom out. That was a huge zoom out.
All right.
48 and a half miles away.
I'm pretty sure I die. Pretty sure the end of this character is pretty sure I'm pretty sure there's a special category for if your thing is 45 miles away.
I'm gonna take over as DM for this. You step in the wrong place and this thing collapses around your ankle and starts whipping you around, similar to how my watch was treated. And you smash down like into the debris of where my watch was. Like springs sticking into your head and just on impact. Just death.
Dead. Well, it's a tragic end for my character. It's a tragic end for our story. But I'm sure you're going to be fine.
I just don't know what time it is.
I did not... I thought... 48 and a half miles.
That's a botch. That's a botch.
That's a botch. And so that's the game in a nutshell. And then we would pick back up with our game of D&D. It took us like with bits like a half hour, 40 minutes, and then we would pick back up along the way.
Yeah, so I dig this. Like, it definitely makes more sense to exist within another game.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was visualizing for it. Like, because it's such a like short list of activities that it felt like it belonged as part of a larger thing.
Because like we could have ended up in a situation where it was like everything we had was right here. How lucky! Yeah. Like we found treasure. Like we left better off than we did when we started. But that's also
that's
things
kind of
went south.
Yeah. It's entirely possible that you just get a lot of really good results, that you end up like in the middle of New York City and everything is half a block away and you just have a great night. And
it's a cool mechanic with a DM. Like we were doing kind of this shared storytelling DM thing. Mm-hmm. But like if there was a straight up DM where like you're giving your characters agency in choosing your words.
Yeah.
There's an element of randomness because you're somewhere randomly in the country. And like with the Cobras, it could be like, all right, everybody wakes up and then you use whatever mechanics for battle you have for whatever game you're actually playing. So it's a nice little mini game inside of
that's kind of how I had envisioned it. Like once I started doing this, I was like, this is a really cool thing that I think, at least in this context, I don't think is like, this context didn't feel like it was a full game experience, and I think I'm okay with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes I think that's a fine place for a thing to live.
Yeah, I never considered that as where we'd go with these games that we make along the way, but I like it.
I have some other ideas that I can just kind of. This is a freeform conversation.
Sure, shoot them out.
There's a very specific idea. The same mechanic, basically. The you pick a term, you go how far, you determine how far away. Because I am a parody of myself at all times, And I want to ask you. This is a thing I'm excited to talk to you about because I know you have roasted me about this many 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 times.
Oh.
Because you and I have different definitions of what fun is when we play a game.
Yeah.
Noah, what is my definition of fun in a game?
I'm trying to think what you would say to answer that. Because I know we have very different definitions of fun, but we always have fun together.
You always have fun together. What I mean is that is that in my head I made a game that was sad and about being sad.
Yeah, yeah. Well, to be honest, like your idea of fun is about being sad. Mine's about like being angry.
Yeah.
Like I want it to be difficult and frustrating.
That's fair. No, that's valid.
Joy does not exist in either of our definitions of fun.
No. So I had this idea for a game that uses this same mechanic as this sort of like lyrical kind of poetic. It's a poetic sad wrestling game because I am fully a parody of myself.
Okay.
The idea is that you find a random location, and like that is the location where your show tonight is happening. Like you and whoever else you're playing with, like you are all wrestlers in a car together going to a show.
Okay.
And like you have questions similar to what I put in Keeping Watch, but each one is like an aspect of how tonight goes, right? Like, and they're a little more guided. So it's like, look for the word entertainment. That's how good of a show this is. Like that's how good the show around you is. Look for the word. I don't know quite the right word, but like look for the word like or like show or audience or venue or something. Like look for a word that represents like how many people are here. Think about like, and then after you answer all of these questions to get an idea of like how does your match go? How many people are here? How much did you get paid for your match? Like then the sort of ending mechanic that I think is very beautiful in this sad wrestling game context is you just click a new location, but you hold on to the last address that you pulled up, and you put in. So we would take. So here, I'm gonna play this out live.
Okay. All right. I'm interested.
We're gonna find a new location. Base Road in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And we're gonna go directions. This is how far you have to travel to your next show.
Oh God.
And you just like answer, and there's just some questions about like, this is how far you have to travel for your next booking. Like, and like, it's this sort of sad poetic thing. Like, that's kind of like I was just thinking, and I was on a walk and just thinking about like sad wrestling things. And that was kind of what came up. I was like, it would be very like, there's this interesting kind of like, the act of going from random location to landing location is like very interesting to me.
Okay, interesting.
I don't know. I like games about being sad.
Oh, I had a really sad idea for this. I had a really sad idea. Okay.
I'm listening.
Basically, the idea of the watch, it's watching over someone who's dying. And you don't know how long they have. So every time you hit like, this one is 5 miles away, like they know, the person you're playing with who is dying, like like the idea of using distance and time was like, well, 5 miles, well, I only have 100 miles left. And you cross that off. And you just don't know how much time you have to have this conversation with them.
That's brutal and tragic, and like I think it would need some really strong safety tools, but like that is a really interesting the idea of like one person has like a distance of like I can't go past this. Like once I hit this distance marker, like a thing happens is fascinating that I hadn't even considered that.
Yeah.
The other idea I had,
the chat was like, "Geez, Noah."
Yeah, I like that. I love that the chat turned on us. Turned on you specifically. The other idea that I had, like, this would be very cool for kind of a like a world building type game about exploring like a weird town or like a zombie survival style game.
Okay.
were perhaps, and the idea I had was that rather than a random location, like you entering not your address, because I think it's weird to use your literal actual address, or maybe you would have to, and this would just be a game that no one ever played on microphone or camera.
Yeah.
You'd be putting your real address in there.
Right.
Important disclaimer.
Yeah.
But like you put in your address, and then like how far things are from you, or like how far Google tells you the closest thing is like you're in a weird town, right? Like your town is suddenly like is haunted, or like there's a zombie crisis or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like there is some weird thing, and you're using like how far things are from you to determine like how safe is it for me to like go get something. Like if I need to go get supplies and I'm in a zombie crisis, like how safe is it if I'm going to run out and get food? Like am I going to get like cornered and attacked, right? Like, or if I'm in a weird town, like do I stumble onto something that I wasn't meant to know because I wandered too far out of like where I'm supposed to be?
Okay. All right. That could be interesting.
So that's kind of where my head has been at with this as a mechanic. Is like there's interesting things you can do with this sort of randomized, like the idea of like locations and words and keywords and figuring out what Google thinks of as a location. Like there's a lot of interesting stuff happening here.
All right, cool.
And that's what I got for you.
So we've completed the first game of what did you call it? Did you call it The Watch or
Keeping Watch?
Keeping Watch. And of course, this is the first beta test, and this will be going up on itch.io. Any major changes you think you're going to be making?
I want to add in a wrapping things up mechanic. I think that's really good and valuable and strong. I think it's a really good thing. And other than that, I think just filling in the rest of the like prompts. I think once we get those in, it'll pretty much be done.
All right, that's exciting. So be sure to check that out on Jeff Stormer's itch.io page.
Yeah.
Before we go, there's one more major piece of business we need to.
There is indeed.
In 1 month, we'll be back with another game we made along the way that I will design, but I need an interesting mechanic. So, what are you thinking, Jeff?
So I have a thought, and I'm building to a big reveal.
Oh, I love suspense.
Now that I'm screen sharing, I can make this big reveal.
Oh, okay.
Noah, like we have a lot of things in common, you and I. Like,
yeah.
And kind of Google Maps came from that, like the time that we drove to
Nauticon.
Drove to Nauticon together. So I'm putting this into a Google Drive, and I'm gonna grab the link for this, and I'm gonna make a big reveal of it.
Ooh.
You and I have a lot of things in common.
Yes.
And the thing that I was thinking about today, it kind of popped into my head, was there's something that you and I have that like we spend a lot of time thinking about, and I've been thinking about this in game design context, and so I kind of want to throw it at you as this very large nebulous thing that I don't even know the answer to.
Oh, I'm already excited. Okay.
Something that's really kind of like core to like, I think core to like pretty core to us and pretty important to us, and something that I know that we both like spend a lot of time thinking about.
Okay. I got it narrowed down to 2 things in my brain.
Let me hear this. I want to know what your 2 things are.
It's either wrestling or beer.
No, it's neither of those things. It's making a podcast.
Oh, okay.
We are both podcasters. We are both people that have made podcasts. We are both people that have produced podcasts, and we have spent a good amount of time, like, making podcasts, like producing podcasts, editing audio, like doing the things on a technical level that go into making podcasts. We have done this thing. We have done this a lot, right? Like we have done this space a lot. We've spent a lot of time on the logistics that go into making a finished podcast.
Okay.
I want you to spend the month thinking about and delivering next time we meet, sometime in late May, in however finished, complete, polished, whatever. Like this is the prompt that I'm giving you for a game design context, is a game that involves or that is predicated on the act of making and producing a podcast. Not just in a sense of like I'm going to play a game and record it, right? Like not just in the sense of
the game is a podcast.
Right, like making the thing, like making the podcast is part of play. or is all of play, or however you want to translate that. Like the prompt is the actual logistics and production of a piece of podcast audio.
This is a fascinating one. This is completely out of left field.
This is how I felt with the Google Maps. Noah, this is how I felt with Google.
Yeah, hold on, oh God.
I turned off the screen share. Do I have to turn it back on?
No, you're good. I'm just making it so it doesn't look weird. There we go. Right. There it is. Now it looks. I was a tiny box that was off in the corner for no reason.
Yeah. I was thinking about it because I've been thinking about podcasting like in game design, like as game design, and like it's such an interesting thought. And I was like, I want to throw this to Noah just to see like what you think of when you think of like a game that is podcasting.
Wow, that's gonna be fascinating.
I'm really excited. I'm excited to see what you do with that concept.
Whew. Thank God I have a month to work this one out, because man, my head already wants to explode.
I've been thinking like Noah, that's where my head has been, because I've had this thought in my head for like a week and a half, and I was like, what if I just make Noah do this? What if I just make Noah
I have an idea I can't figure out, so I'll just make it someone else's problem.
Yeah, your problem now.
All right, well then join us in May when I create some sort of weird podcast game.
I'm excited. That's
really excited. Going to be something. All right, so I guess this is the end of the show. So thank you so much for joining us. I'm at TV's Noah of +2 Comedy. Follow me on Twitter at +2 Comedy, and follow me here on this Twitch stream and subscribe to +2 Comedy Gaming. Jeff, what do you got?
I'm Jeff Stormer. You can find my work at jeffstormer.com. You can find me on Twitter at PartyOfOnePod, and you can find my games as well, including the games that we made along the way at jeffstormer.itch.io.
Yes, and thank you so much for joining us on this game of cobras and watching things and booby traps and destroyed watches. But you know what the real important thing was?
I think I do.
It was the games we made along the way.
The way.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.